Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist Studio. Today what I've decided to do is, a lot of you out there have been asking me about the basics. It's all well and good watching me draw cartoons looking over my shoulder, but all you're ever going to really achieve is how to draw cartoons like I do, which is fine when you're learning. But at some point you're going to want to develop your own style. And the best way to do that is to work off a formula. A formula on how to draw faces and how to draw hands and body shapes and types, and animals and their body shapes and types, whether it's standing on 2 feet, in the case of, say, a lion or a dog. Traditionally they're on 4 feet, but in cartoons you quite often see them walking around on their hind legs. So throughout this part of the video, this part of the channel, should I say, I'm going to be taking people back to the basics. So for those of you who already are experienced cartoonists, I'm sorry that this channel is developing as we go along. But for those of you who want to learn to draw cartoons, and this is going to be an invaluable section, it's going to be a playlist, and I'll do them from time to time. Not every week. I'm still going to continue to do my usual gibberish and God knows what else. But also I'd like to teach you the very basics, so as you understand how to create your own cartoons and hopefully develop your own style. So with this first one, we're going to be working on the face, the head, the different shapes, the simple shape you can use for it, or a collaboration of shapes, should we say, for the same effects. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, before we go any further, you may hear noise in the background. It's far too nice a day to have the windows shut. They are open, and the kids from the private school I've mentioned behind where I live are out there and they're doing their summer sports. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the birds singing. And who wouldn't want a video with birds singing in the background? Sounds like a good idea. Right, okay, let's get you started with the very basics of the anatomy of the cartoon face. Okay, here, as we say, are the basics. Can you draw a circle? I'm sure most of you can. But this is a cartoon circle. This is going to be a cartoon face. So if you were drawing, say, a more realistic, you would draw maybe an oval, and you'd start off with an area for the eyes, a bit for the nose, a bit for the mouth, where the hairline starts maybe, and a shape there for the ears and the neck, and you go on and you build the shape up accordingly. Well, it's a similar principle with cartoons, only we're not going to be touching the body shape at this particular stage. But you don't need eyes, nose, mouth. All you need to do is remember this is a circle, so it now becomes a sphere because it's a face, so you cut it into 4. So just very light, cut it into 4 like so. That's it. Simple as that. Now with this, you would know that the eyes will always be one on that side, one on that side. The hair will be up this side of the head. The nose can be either underneath or in the center, kind of a weird 4-way Venn diagram, and the mouth will always be on the bottom. That's your very basics. You can also put a couple of circles over here for the ears if you want. So we'll start off with a basic shape, basic face. Let's just go with a little nose like that, and 2 more shapes there for the eyes. Have a looking over there. There's the eyebrow, and there's taking a half smile, so halfway across the face, like that. There is a basic cartoon face. Now, you may want to make it a much longer face, so turn it into an oval. Once again, do the square. Cut it into 4. Maybe give it a slightly different nose. Bring the nose out, bring it back in. Still got a smile. Maybe this time you just want to use dots for eyes. You can, there's no rules. And then there's the ears. Same thing. What happens if you want to have the face looking up? Well, you still keep the dividing line there. He's looking right up over there. So now you quarter it by doing that. Then maybe we'll use dots here because it keeps it easier. And then the face may be looking down. Halfway mark. Then bring that down to the lower third. There goes the eye. Sorry, the nose, sorry. There goes the two eyes. There's the mouth. There's the nose. So all I've done is a circle. And I've managed to get 3 different angles. We'll go for another one. We'll go looking, that's gone a bit haywire. We'll go for another one where it's looking side on. So you don't have the line that goes down there because that's your line that goes down there. But you do have one there, and you put a nose and one eye. And there's your face again. You haven't changed the shape. The shape has just always been that circle. But you can change the shape. You can change it to whatever you want. You can do it into a square if you want. A simple, well, a bit more of a cartoon you want because we've curved it at the bottom. But still, cut it into quarters for the basic shape for now. There's your nose. There's one eye, and we'll give a different sort of eye there because you can get different expressions by just doing things with the eyes. So rather than doing the 2 shapes like that, the one is just the eyeball, the other one is the whole eye itself. And then a little smile. There's the ear, and there's the shape. And you can do the same thing as I have done before. Looking up. And looking down. Same thing over and over, and it's just the same shape. So there's a couple of shapes. Do it with a triangle if you like. I don't mind, you chuck any shape at me. It doesn't matter to me because the principle is the same. And with this, the idea of that shape face is you can bring it and make it more of a rounded face. The ears up here, maybe a little tuft of hair at the top. Right, okay. So that is the basics of the face. Now, what happens if you want to go a little bit more involved in that? You don't want just the basic shape of the face. You want to make it a bit more involved. I'll give you a little quiz. Now, I've done this, I think, on a YouTube short, and I may have done it on a TikTok. I'm not quite sure what it was. So if you've seen this, don't shout out the answer. You got yourself a cylinder, and you've done that cylinder just purely by 2 ellipses and connected it. And then here, using the back part of the cylinder, say the bit you can't see, just put a circle to connect with it there. And I was thinking, right, okay, what's that going to be? And I'll leave you a couple of seconds with a little bit of music to think about that one. Okay, any guesses? Wrong. If we put an eye there, and an eye there, and a little nose, just come out from that shape and curve around there and come back in. A little ear there. Oh, I know you're all shouting at the screen now. You're all very wise after the moment now, aren't you? I'm just doing that. And you've got yourself Bart Simpson. And this is how animators do, it's how they build up the characters. It's how their characters are always the same. With every single panel, they look at a character and they break it down into shapes that they can use, and they can all use. So there you go, there's that shape. So let's apply it to, say, one of my cartoons. And I will go an oval that's falling over, a circle there, and another egg shape or breadstick, whichever way you prefer it. I'll also put a little circle there. Now what I do with that is I'll draw another oval and one behind it. That's going to be the eye. This is the nose. So we bring it so it just goes below this here, and then starting there in the circle, bring it out, all the way out, and rejoin the breadstick. So there's the original line for the breadstick. It's all the way out and rejoins it. Here starts at that point, so it's just as it goes behind the nose, bring it out and bring it in, and then you got yourself a little moustache, maybe some eyes, eyebrows. There's the top of the dome-ish type head, got a big brain in there somewhere, and a little neck, and maybe put a tie in it, but that's about as far as I'm willing to go with the body at the moment. So there you go. So that's two shapes. That's that shape and that shape. You want to take the square, and we'll build that into a very jowly type person. The square can be used for someone who's got a very strong face or a very chubby face. And we will divide it like so. And let's turn it into a jowly face. So give it a nice character-filled nose. And two little eyes. So the larger the face, the smaller the eyes. And make them half closed, like so. The jowl will come out here and will go down, like so. And the same this side, down. And maybe just a big, stupid old smile. Like that. And then a bit of a top lip, ear, any size you want really, large, small, doesn't really matter. And then because he's got a nice smile and he's half dazed, then just do the eyebrows going up like that. Gives it a nice expression. Then using this, come up here, go slightly above it, curve it down and around, and then out and back in again. And you've rounded it to a nice jowly face. And just put a t-shirt in there if you wish, and there you have it. See, that's just off the one shape. Now you want to draw, say, a heavy, an angry, a mobster or a thug. Start off with a circle there and a much bigger one there. Just do the line there. You don't need to worry about anything else. And then for the nose, you start off with a circle, but then bring it out, bring it in, out and in like that. So you've got a broken nose. A line goes up like that. The other line goes out of the circle. Bring it back and then to rejoin it, and then just out like that. Then go the piercing eyes. And then here, bring it out and square that jaw up like this. Big, strong mouth, maybe a tooth sticking out. Bottom lip. Smaller-ish ears. Small forehead. And there you got yourself an angry face. So those are just a few basic shapes for the face. So now maybe you want to stretch those shapes. So we'll go with, once again, a long oval, almost like an ellipse. And then you've got another ellipse down here, a smaller one. So you want to have someone like the guy with the simple face there, but we'll make him into an oval. So give him a nice big nose like that. Very tall, almost skyscraper-ish eyes. cut them in half like that, half eyeballs. And then coming along the line here, follow it all the way up and then just take it up over the top. The same with the other. There's your nose. Bring it round like that if you want. Big ears, big expressive ears, or one at least, because the other one's behind there somewhere. And then there's your line of the mouth, comes out like that. And we'll give him a big tooth there. And then bring your jowl and your bottom lip like so. But even though you've come out of that shape, you've used it as a guide. Maybe a few little lines like that. And to make it even dopier, bring the hair to come right out like so. So that's used another few shapes and got you an expression. And on that point, let's go into a few expressions, shall we? And for the expressions, we'll just keep to the basic of the circle and the square, probably just the circle. So you're going to make someone very angry. Now, when you're angry, your head tends to be down lower. So that would be a halfway line. Bring it slightly down further than the halfway line. Small nose. You can do a broken nose if you want, but not every angry person has got a broken nose. And then a line out here and a line that goes just outside the circle. Then turn that into an eyebrow by just doing this. And the same with the other side. Bring it out there and then loop that round so it's almost like it's connected to the side of the face, which of course it is. The eye here goes there, comes out, it joins the line there, so the eyes have remained above, north of that line. If you want to give him a real snarl, then bring it up like so and down so as it reaches the bottom of the circle. Then continue it around, bring it up there and over the other side, just outside the circle. Then this comes out like so, and then you see the line goes further, just drop it down a bit there, and then you've got a line here that is the teeth. Make it interesting, one there, and then fill that little bit in. You've got yourself a little scowl. And there's the bottom lip, there's the other lip, and then you connect them. Eyes there, we can put them anywhere you want depending on where you think the point of anger is coming from. And then ears. You want to make someone extremely happy? Well, you stretch the face a little bit. So even though it's a circle, you stretched it into a slight oval. So start off with the halfway line, have it curving this way rather than that way, because that would be anger. That would be more happy. Nose, big expressive eyes, wide open, not the half-cut eyes. In the middle there, let's bring the jowls out slightly to lengthen the face even more into a neck. And then starting at the halfway line, bring it there and go just over the halfway line, and then using the bottom half of the circle of the oval, bring it all the way around and connect it. You can put teeth in there if you wish, entirely up to you. There's the nose, there's the ears, happy, expressive face. So anger, more squat, happy, more stretchy. And let's go kind of like, I don't know, thinking something through. So once again, I won't draw the whole body, but for the sake of the body, it will be coming like that. there's the back, there's the front. So you bring it like so here, and then like so. Nose, it's a frown because he's thinking, but not an angry frown. So I'll just bring it in like so, maybe a little bit higher, and then thinking you cannot. I mean, I would normally draw a hand here with a thumb and a finger, that kind of stuff. So you can see the second you put some more props into it in the form of a hand, then it gives it a whole new feel. So yeah, so there's a pensive thought or thoughtful person. What other expression can we do? Shock. That's a good one. So I think shock once again is going to be more of an oval, isn't it? More like that. Cut it in 4. Maybe make the nose a little smaller because that's not the important part. The important part is the eyes. So I have one eye up there, maybe another one slightly smaller. And you can do real shock or surprise by just doing swirls within the eye. We'll come back to those in a minute. And then make it jowly again. Slightly jowly, not too bad, not too far, don't go too wild with it. And then just, there's your mouth, another oval. The eyes then go shock, complete and utter shock. There you go. There's the face. There's the basics of the face. One final point, as I said at the beginning, if I was to develop a character, and we'll just invent a very simple character. We'll use one of the characters from my book, The Night of the Village Idiots. This is how I would draw, say, Lord Hamlet. So he's the mustachioed type, but he's a little bit more portly. So I'd work off that shape, not such big eyes, eyebrows, quite bushy eyebrows. There's his ear, and he's got kind of like earwig style hair. So I then bring the nose around like so, and there's his moustache, and then he just comes into the rest of his face and his tie and so much like that. But because I've got that shape there, I can do anything with that because I've got the shape. So I think I'll have him from looking away. So we're behind looking at him from behind. So he's like that. And there's his shape. The ears will come out like so. There's his hair. I know where his hair's going to go. His little balding head behind. And there's the shape of Lord Hamlet. Maybe he's angry. So there we go. There's his moustache. There's his neck. There's his nose. You basically see what I'm doing here is that by drawing that same shape every time, I have no problem drawing Lord Hamlet so as he's as recognisable in this picture as he is in that. And I forgot it. I do this with him, don't I, as well. So there we go. So using the shape, any way, shape or form, I can draw Lord Hamlet by just doing these basic shapes. So with him, it is that circle, moustache, and some kind of neckline down here. And from there, I just go. I'll have him looking up. I'm just working off that, and then looking up in the air. So there goes his eyes. His moustache comes out like so. There's his ear. And yeah, the rest of his head and his eyebrows, like so. But he's undeniably the same character there, there, and there. There's his little tough Lord Hamlet. So that's because of using those shapes, that's how I could devise that character and any other that I draw in any shape position, because I know the structural framework is there. And that, my friends, is how you produce cartoon heads. And from that, you will go on to devise your own. Right, here endeth today's lesson. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. I know it's a bit different, but this is, like I say, it's a foundation course, shall we say. And I'm literally showing you how to create characters using basic shapes. This is how I learned to draw cartoons. I'm now imparting it onto you, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. If it is the kind of content that you enjoy, then like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below. Like I say, it's going to be a course, an ongoing course, shall we say. It's free. I'm not charging for it. So you're getting all my experience and knowledge of the years that I've been doing this, how I created my cartoons, how I started off with simple circles and shapes, and how I still do, and then go on to the creation of characters. So if that's the kind of thing that you like, then, as I say, let me know in the comments below. And let other people know as well, bring them over. I will be going back to my usual stuff of graphic novels and children's books and single panel cartoons and all the things that I normally do. It's just that every now and again, I think it's quite nice to go along there and sate or satisfy the curiosity of a lot of people who write to me and say, show me how to draw a shoe, show me how to draw a pencil, show me how to draw a pencil putting a shoe on, that kind of stuff. If I show you the basics, then you can draw your own pencil putting a shoe on, because you'll know how. Right, okay, that's the video for this week. Like I say, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your company. It's always appreciated. If you want to support this channel, then in the description below are the universal links for all the books I've written and illustrated. Universal just basically being, if you're viewing this in France, you click on it, it takes you to the French Amazon. If you're viewing it in America, the UK, China, any of these other countries, you click on that same link, it'll send you to your Amazon, the Amazon that furnishes your area, shall we say. So that's a great way to support the channel and helps me continue to produce this dribble. There's also Buy Me a Coffee. That's a great way also, which you can do on an ad hoc basis. It's whatever you do, it's all appreciated. But if you can't do any of those, then like and share. Definitely subscribe. Right, I'll see you in a fortnight. We're doing something else. I don't know what. But until then, bye-bye for now.